Well, we're getting close to the end of class and of this course anyway. And I thought I would post a couple more, I don't know, tips on the water lily and talking about the lily pads and maybe glazing some of the petals so they have a little bit more oomph in it, a little bit more color. Um, as I'm getting ready to film this, I'm looking on my monitor and I started looking at the photo reference versus my painting. Interesting, right? It's just not even dark enough. Um, so I'm not encouraging some of you to go darker because I've seen your work and it looks pretty good. However, um, right here is a place where we can actually glaze underneath there and get it to anchor down a little bit more. And so first and foremost, let's talk about the petals. Okay. So I was speaking with Carol on the phone, and we were talking about being a little too heavy-handed, or what we can do to uh, correct some of the heavy-handedness that goes on. Um, and the funny thing is that if I were to just look at this by itself without looking at the photo reference, I would say, oh yeah, I got a little heavy-handed with it. And now that I'm looking at it, really, you can see some of these shadows here that I could even add more. Okay. So when I go to put color in on the white lily, the white petals, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to mix right here. I'm mixing a light violet. It's a permanent rose and phthalo blue right here. And a little bit more blue. But do you see what I'm doing here? Do you see how I'm allowing the paint just to mingle and I'm not giving it too many brush strokes? I don't want it to turn into a muted gray, which it can do, if you keep mixing it. I like to begin my lighter values, mixing my lighter values in my pan and let them just kind of move about. And I can see what's going to happen with a wet into wet technique, or what it's going to look like once I get it. And a wet into wet technique, as you can see, they move and mingle nicely. So I think the object of putting more color here, it's going to take a lot of control for me, especially because I just like to just keep going in there and adding more darks. But let's start, okay, with the big guy right here. Okay, and I'm dropping in some water. And I'm following this shadow right up in here. And it's already got some pigment on here, which is going to be nice because it's going to just add to a little bit more depth. Maybe it's not that they're overworked. Maybe they're just too flat looking. And you're trying to find a way to create roundness on your petals. That could be an issue. Drop, and I'm going to drop a little bit purple there. I'll pick up another portion of that pigment and maybe even bring it out to the edge and just let it move about. Yeah. So I'm going to, since it's upright like this, I'm going to go ahead and tap a little bit more color in there. Let's just put it on the edge here. Give it a little bit movement right along there. And again, no overworking. Okay. Drop a little blue in there. Have some fun with it, maybe. And the funny thing is about these petals is that I think one of the biggest lessons I learned when I was painting this was it's best to drop it in and then leave it alone. and then come back to it a little bit later again, and you can keep working the rest of your painting. Okay. And let's see what we have. We can actually get a little bit more pink and a little bit more, you know, just bring some extra color in there, a little orange, you know, and because there are a lot of warm tones. And when I look at this again, I'm going to look over here and see if there's another area that I could find and drop some warmer tones. Well, there you go, right here. It seems weird that you think you've just done too much to the white petals and you've overworked it, but sometimes it just doesn't have enough variety of values or enough depth, or I'm sorry, enough, or it's just not dark enough. And looking again, as I was looking at the monitor and looking at my reference photo and looking at this painting, I think I was so worried about going heavy-handed when I was setting this up for the video that I backed off a lot. So either you go in, if you're heavy-handed and you like darks and you like, you know, a lot of pigment and you like to just, you know, charge that pigment into the subject matter or onto the petal, go for it. You know, there's no rules. You don't have to just make them pure white. You can, although they are really pretty with a pure white. Tina from North Carolina, she handed in some beautiful petals. But sometimes that just isn't part of who we are or our personality. We like to express in a different way. And if you're anything like me, I do like to, I used to enjoy a lot of detailing in my paintings. And I say used to because I haven't had that opportunity to do that in a long time because it's always, there's always lessons to be stepped out. And I always feel like I begin a painting and never finish it. So, but that's okay. I like to teach, and that helps me teach. It's a good aid. Now that was way heavy-handed. And so do you see what I just did? So I'm going to clean my brush, come on over here, and just, you know, soften it. Okay. Okay. So you can still play with your petals. And I can see this nice glow happening here. I want to keep this glow in here. And this isn't looking so glowy right now, but I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll revisit it if need be. Okay, so let's address some of the darker values. I just did not get dark enough. Here we go. So I'm going to take permanentalism crimson, transparent yellow, and a little bit of blue, and you're going to get your nice earth tones that way. Okay. And here we go. Let's see. Maybe if I hold it like this, you might be able to see it. Yeah. I'll put my board back up here. There we go. Okay. So, again, permanent alizarin crimson, transparent yellow, and you can get a nice golden orange color. And then, there you go. Then add a little bit of blue. And you got to be really, really careful about that phthalo blue because it's going to override it into a green very easily. Okay, there we go. So you have all your different earth tones happening right here. And just keep playing with it until you have a variety of browns in your palette. Okay. Because I'm going to go in and start adding a few more darks in there. Boy, that makes me feel good that I get to add darks. There we go. Right there. See that? Right there. Okay. And now I'm going to take a wet brush and just kind of go right in here and soften that edge and just kind of have it come out, move down and about. Or, you know, if you have like any hard edges in the reflection, that's fine too, because when we put more another glaze of blue for the water down, it'll take care of that right away. Okay, right here, and then I'm going to get my little round and nudge it up inside there. Nudge a little bit of darker. I'm just going to take a little bit of phthalo blue, and you can just drop that in, drop it in, and I'm just going to let it float down. See that? How's that natural, you know, that look that the reflection causes when, or the water causes the reflection to have, you know, maybe with a fuzzy edge. Okay, there you go. So I'm just going to let that be for now, but you can see where that helps this. Okay, and then of course, and I would do that down here as well. And the cool thing is that once you have this mixed up, you're going to start looking around. Well, where else can I put it? These do have this. They are visibly flat. I mean, they have a little curve to them, but when you look at them in a pot, they have this funny flat back to them, and I'm always trying to figure out, you know, what's that right little perspective or the angle that I'm looking for to get it, to give it that look that it's got, that's rounding and going back in. That's part of it too. I just play with that a lot and just drop in more pigment. Okay. Now, some of you, you know, if you choose to keep your painting as is, and you go, oh, I don't want to go too much darker, I'm afraid I'm going to overwork it, that's fine. That's fine, but just double check to make sure things are anchored. Okay. And that would mean this movement here, and you know, just bring it on around, and then we can connect right here with this. Okay, and I'm going to soften right up to there. Just let it go on down and drip on down. Okay. So much for that, because you guys are probably way past this. Okay. Now, I'm going to revisit the whole, because I don't think I really gave you as much information as I could have. I was just a little helpful hint about the water, because I think, you know, now that let's say you're at this point and you want to start dropping water in, or let's say you already have put your water in and you're not liking what you see, well, more than likely, there we go, around, more than likely, eventually you will. Yeah, I mean, you can play with this more times than you probably realize, or you just don't want, you know, once you lay the water down, doesn't mean you can't go back over it and soften it up if you're, because Carol was saying that she wasn't liking what was happening within her water. She thought she got heavy-handed, but sometimes too you just leave the painting alone and magically it looks great in the morning. So that's my problem, is that I should walk away sometimes after the sun's gone down and just not paint at night, but sometimes that's the only chance that I do get. So that's, you know, it is what it is. Okay, now I'm going to start adding some blue right here to the water, right here. And that is going to be just a bit too much right there. Okay, and I don't know, my hand's in the way probably. You know, now this wouldn't be my ideal, you know, water movement, the ripples of the water. I'm going to show you, okay, this is one that I did. I think I might have demoed this. I'm not sure, but, oops, I'm going to move. I've got so many of these guys. So I'm going to move this one over here, and we can look at different waters, okay? I tried this as an example. That was a demo. And then that as a demo. That's a fun one, right? I like that one. So that was done with, you know, pinks, purples. And I just kind of moved my brush, loaded my brush up and moved it really quickly. And let's say you did this and you weren't happy with it. You could probably take a clean, I'm going to get my bigger brush, here I come back, a nice big brush, and I would turn it on its side, like so, and it has, you know, a one stroke or something with a lot of you know, bounce and nothing too stiff, and I'm going to start giving it some water. Boy, that's not moving at all, is it? Okay. Very stainy color. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to come in. I'm going to keep dropping my water in. Okay. Okay, so this is a good example because it's staining and it's not moving the way you know, a non-staining color would move. But this is kind of good because I'll show you both. So here we go. Knock this in. You scrub it a little bit, and the colors that are non-staining will move for you. I think that's really great the way it's just kind of hanging there. Okay, now what we're going to do is add a little bit more. I'm going to get my blue pan out. Add a little bit more water, or a little bit more pigment right on top of this while it's wet. Okay, so let's say you used the staining color and it didn't move, but you want it to somehow fix it. All you have to do is disguise it, okay? And this is like a Windsor blue, red shade. You can do it with your phthalo. You can do it with, you know, whatever color you have in your palette, and you want to get this water darker. It's going to look very cool because some of this will still show. Okay. And here we go. Move it, move it. Okay. And it may end up that, you know, now that we're doing this, it might be a whole new ball game where you have to go back in and gently move some of these this area so it brings back the white petals. But I don't think I'm going to have that problem. Okay. I think it's going to look good. If it doesn't, I'll just pretend like it does. Okay. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. There you have it. Okay, so this is running a little bit long, and it takes forever for me to load it up and get it on YouTube. So I think what I'll do is sign off now, and then my next one that I want to film is it's going to be on these oh, I'm sorry, lily pads. Okay, let's see if we can get something going here where it's nice and dark. Okay, let's say you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to go any darker than that, Joyce. Well, then don't take my class. No, I'm just kidding. Then don't. You know, you don't have to. You can let it dry and then make that decision later. You know, sometimes I jump to a decision that usually I'm like, oh, I'm pretty happy that I did that because I just kind of go with my instinct on it. And or sometimes I know I shouldn't, but I go ahead and do it anyway. And then I'm like, Either way, you're going to, you should let it dry so you can make those decisions. Once it's nice and dry and it's not late at night and you go to sleep and you wake up and you're like, yay, I get to paint some more. Okay. And that's always good. Waking up to a painting that you know you have troubles with, sometimes the results are great, and sometimes the results are, I don't want, you just keep trying to work it. Usually you should walk away from a painting, let it settle, and then you come back to it, okay? So that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to do another demo on these and this area up in here, and I'll show you the final piece that I have here too. Okay, good luck.